I'm Dylan Ratigan. I've interviewed nearly every CEO and most world leaders during the past 25 years. And now on Bootstrapping, I'm turning my attention to the new CEOs and the irrepressible entrepreneurs leading the next generation of innovation in the world. Welcome back to Tasty Live. I am Dylan Ratigan. Time for another episode of Bootstrapping. Our guest today, Phil Sutherland, the company Super Sapiens. Phil, a pleasure to meet you.
Great to meet you, Dylan.
You as well. Yeah, you as well. The premise, from what I understand in the reading the background coming into this, of Super Sapiens, which is on the Republic platform, goes back to 2019. You raised more than $10 million, it looks like, to do this, and more. You'll tell me. And the product is what? What is this? What are you selling, and what are you raising money for?
Yeah, so the product is a continuous glucose monitor, and think of it as a gas gauge for your body, right? And knowing what fuels to put, what gas to put in the tank for what situation, so that you can be the best of yourself. So that's what we help our customers to do, to be the best of themselves. And we're raising capital to really, after 3 years on market of learning what our customers need, we want to refine the product. We have some tweaks to make to bring it to the U.S. market, which we're launching this year. And we're really raising to bring the amazing Super Sapiens technology to the American population. And Republic has been a great part of that.
So what percentage of the American population, if you're to distribute, let's say, I don't know how, you probably have much better data distributions than I do in terms of the population for this, but I'm going to consider all professional athletes and even college, like performance training athletes, track, Olympics, Ironman, any of that, as you're most motivated to have this kind of information. And then how do you move from that crowd into the normal population? Why do I, as a non-competitive athlete who still exercises, have an interest in a real-time glucose monitor?
So let's I'll clarify a position just a little bit first. Yeah. And for the last 10 years, people with diabetes have been using this technology to improve their glucose outcomes and drive their longevity scale. When I was diagnosed with diabetes, I was going to die by 25. So they told my doctors. I know I still look 25, but actually I'm 42 now.
It's all the monitoring.
And won the lottery, but I had access to this technology, and this technology really does drive longevity for the diabetic population. And so it's the people with diabetes that the athletes in Europe have to thank for really developing the technology. Now, because of the athletes of Europe, we're actually able to bring it full circle back to the diabetes population here in the States as a SaaS model business, and really bring in the first class of the cabin of the airplane, the Super Sapiens app, to the people with diabetes who are already, 3.5 million of them are already using this sensor, in the States today. So how many people have diabetes? Well, 36 million Americans have diabetes. Every single one of them needs to be on a sensor. Right now, I think in total about 6 million are. There's 89 million people with prediabetes in America. Think about that. One in 3 Americans has prediabetes. By using a continuous glucose monitor powered by Super Sapiens, you'll get the behavior change you need to help prevent the onset of diabetes to begin with.
Wow.
And that's, at the end of the day, we help our customers.
So it's a medical device that is derived from competitive sport that was, and it's a competitive sport device that was derived from medicine.
Yeah, we've used our app and our ecosystem to help athletes win, in Premier League football, Tour de France, Ironman, marathon, Formula One, et cetera. And we're going to bring that app and ecosystem back to the diabetes population in the States. And the most important competition you have as a person with diabetes is your glucose, right? That is like your daily report card that's going to indicate, how long you live, and if you do or if you do not prevent the complications that can come from this disease. So, for people with diabetes, competition when it comes to glucose has been a key part of our life since the moment you're diagnosed. And I'm so proud to bring our ecosystem to, back to my family, the diabetic population.
That's incredible. And are you simply, I don't mean to say simply, in addition to being a real-time glucose monitor or a data set, is there an indication after that as to what action to take? So, do you prescribe an action after you issue the level, or is that a different domain knowledge that's implicit? Once you know the level, the reference is implicit, basically.
Exactly. So once you have a baseline education using continuous glucose monitoring and you know the level, you know the trend, people with diabetes know what to do. The core, really one of the core functionalities for us is bridging the data from the sensor to an Apple Watch, to a Garmin bike computer, so that people with diabetes can have this data in front of them. And, people without diabetes benefit from having this data in front of them as well, so that they can exercise safely with diabetes. And for the non-diabetic population in Europe, yeah, there's a lot of teaching and hand-holding that has to be done because it's a brand new data field that people, aren't trained in. But the diabetes population, they're trained in glucose, and our app makes managing glucose, um, I don't know, a little bit more fun than it ever has been before.
Well, I mean, when you fun is an odd word, but we'll use it as a reference to less piercing of skin, less. I mean, is that what we're talking about? Is that there's no. I mean, at the end of the day, the unspoken part of so-called glucose monitoring is that I'm going to need access to a little bit of your blood, which means I'm going to
Yeah,
have to do some type of intervention with a prick or a stick or something's going to happen.
yeah.
And where does the rubber meet the road with you?
So just to contextualize things a little bit, when I was in college before continuous glucose monitoring, I used to prick my fingers 20 times a day. All my fingertips were black because I was obsessed about glucose control to prevent complications and win in sport. I haven't checked my glucose once well, I checked once this year. That's not a really bold statement as we stand here on January 16th.
We'll give
But
it to you. We'll give if you're from 20 times a day, it's still good numbers.
But I'd say I probably checked finger stick glucose 4 times last year in total. So with the continuous glucose monitors, there's no need to check your blood glucose anymore. It's the technology I rely on for life and death, and actually I rely on it for life and for goals, and it served me very well for CGM now for
What's the
18 years.
mean? How does the continuous glucose monitor one's glucose?
A sensor goes in the arm, right, and it's looks like this, and you put it on, and it's on there for up to 14 days, and the data it reads your this is science terms, it reads your interstitial glucose, and then sends from the sensor to an app on the phone, and then the app on the phone, which is the primary app, will then send it to the Super Sapiens app, where we bridge it to our app, and then Apple Watch, Garmin, Wahoo, other devices, etc.
And that patch punctures the skin or not?
Yes, a needle goes in and comes out, retracts, and then you probably can't even see it here on maybe you can, that little
Okay, yeah.
microfilament. It's just like a couple of hairs that remain in your body for the 14-day period.
And what's the level of discomfort compared to finger prick?
Zero. I mean, there's no
You don't feel anything. You literally don't feel it.
You don't notice it. Once you put it in, you forget it's there.
Mm-hmm. And even when you first put it on, it's not a noticeable.
Yeah, like when I'm super lean and hit a muscle, then every now and again you feel it, but 99.9% of the time it's like a finger prick when you put it on. But that's it.
Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming this sounds like a very nice business to be acquired by a larger technology company like Apple.
Yeah,
Or Apple Health or whatever it would be.
We've had good conversations with Apple Health. They see marketing as a key way to call it change the devastating health trajectory that the country's on right now. We've got good strategic investors who are in the med device space. We're they have a long-term vision for us helping them conquer this market. So yeah, to be acquired is ultimately an entrepreneur's dream, but you can't worry about that acquisition until you built a really phenomenal product and really good business. Because if we build a great business, we deliver great value to our customers, then then we're going to deliver tremendous value to whoever decides to acquire us. But the fundamental first is take care of our customer, and because you take care of one, then they'll tell three, then they tell six, then that spreads. And we got a vision to change the world, and we got a long road ahead of us. We're here today because of all the investors who put 30 million into the business so
Oh,
far over the
wow.
last 5 years. And we got big ambitions to supercharge that and to deliver great investor returns over the years to come.
what is the KPI that what do you consider impact? Is it let me rephrase that question. Obviously, selling lots of units or having lots of units in the wild and having all those things. Beyond that, where will the evidence of better glucose monitoring show up in the healthcare billing system or in the longevity actuarial table? Where do you, like, when you talk about having this impact, is it in the quality of the days of the diabetic population or the length of the life? And obviously the answer is going to be all the above. And
Yeah.
then it's how do you measure that?
So I think quantitatively, it's been proven that the more times one checks their glucose per day, the better their hemoglobin A1C,
Good.
which is it's your 3-month report card as a person with diabetes, how well you're doing from a glucose management standpoint. So the more one checks their glucose on average, the better their hemoglobin A1C gets. And with Super Sapiens, this is what's really exciting. Our app is extremely engaging. People without diabetes in Europe check their glucose on average 17 times a day, right? 17 times per day, people look at our app and they don't have diabetes. So for the diabetes customer here in the States, who wants to have access to their data, we're going to help them be excited to open their app. We're going to provide it on more devices so they can more easily check their glucose instead of 10 times a day, 20 times a day, or 30 times a day. Now I probably check mine 50 times a day because I'm obsessed about glucose. And by helping them do that, we'll help them to drive better hemoglobin A1Cs. And that's what lowers complications. It lowers, short-term and long-term costs associated with diabetes. But of course, we have to prove that out by servicing this population. So that's not a claim of what we've done, not a guarantee of what we will
But it's
do,
a but it's an as a measure you would like to see.
but it's a measure we would like to see.
I was while you're listening, I'm listening to you thinking also the big health insurance companies that pay a lot of the healthcare billings for emergency room visits because of there's a billion diabetes related hospital visits that happen.
Yeah.
Is there a world where this is a direct data set inside the insurance industry as well? Is that, or I don't know how that, between the bioethics, so there's a whole world there, but
Yeah, there's that's part of the vision for the future. And if you look right now, the continuous glucose monitoring devices on market and the apps, they do a really good job of showcasing glucose outcomes. What Super Sapiens does is we show glucose in conjunction with sleep, in conjunction with exercise, in conjunction with meals, so that we'll be able to showcase the insurance industry that our customers exercise on average 5 days a week, right? And maybe the Super Sapiens customers sleep, 8 hours per day versus 6 hours per the normal. So we're going to slice and dice this data and different means, but ultimately we have to find out where we're driving value to the consumer. And quantitative, outcomes like the hemoglobin A1C are very important because that is measurable. But we want to inspire people. We want them to realize that with good control, they can go out and safely be active. They can pursue their dreams, and Super Sapiens can help them make those dreams come true. And qualitative feedback is something we're going to be very disciplined about trying to track because we want to know, how did we make a difference in their lives? How did we give them more confidence in their daily life with diabetes, so that they can be bold with conquering this disease versus being scared, which unfortunately a lot of the population still is today.
how fast are you growing? And what's your barrier to growth? You're a few years old. You've got a compelling pitch. You've got a piece of technology. What's the barrier to your market penetration?
So we just announced our US launch, that it's going to take place.
Okay.
So we're our own barrier because we're just making sure we build a very good product first. We will release a closed beta probably into this quarter, an open beta next in Q2, and then we're going to go full scale commercial in Q3. And really, that's what the dollars that we're raising through Republic are all about. It's about building a really good product, ensuring we get adequate feedback from our customers, that we adapt so that when we do fully launch commercially, we have a product that's going to help our consumers to achieve their goals, and that we have enough gas to put on the growth fire when we do come to market, and tackle as many of the 3.5 million sensor users as possible right out of the gate.
Mm-hmm. Phil, it's a pleasure. Congratulations on all of it. Very impressive and persuasive. Thank you.
Thank you, Dylan. And
All
look,
right.
to anyone out there, if you're one person dealing with type 1, type 2 prediabetes, or even if you want to take a better picture of your health, whether you're my customer or not, ask your doctor to get you a continuous glucose monitor. Getting on a sensor for 2 weeks or a month, you'll just be amazed to learn what does what to you. And then you make some small behavior change choices in 1 month of learning that are going to make a world of difference down the road. And just know, if you're someone with diabetes, Super Sapiens has your back, and you can stand proud. And if you're not someone with diabetes, Super Sapiens has your back to get out there and be active, and be the best of yourself every single day you're alive.
And if you don't want Super Sapiens, at least get yourself a glucose monitor.
Absolutely.
I'm Dylan Ratigan. He's Phil Sutherland. This is Bootstrapping. You're watching Tasty Live. We're back after this.